The Underground Master, also known as the ancient capital of the Underworld. Tang Ping traveled through the realm of immortality and chivalry, and became an insignificant underground master with the help of the ancient artifact, the Eastern Han Dynasty's advice to the earth. Demons thrive and ghosts run rampant. This is a chaotic and unruly world of mythological monsters. Undead feathered men, exotic beasts of mountains and seas, strange and supernatural alchemists, witches and supernatural beings. As an ancient underground lord, De Qian was the first priest. Tang Ping, with the strategy of improving his proficiency, remained calm and composed, building walls to accumulate grain, practicing divine arts, practicing divine powers, and practicing spiritual rituals. Flowers bloom and the sun sets, time passes quietly, and the eternal smoke waves are vast. I am an underground lord, living forever in the world. Keywords of the novel. I am the underground master of the underworld without a pop-up window. I am the underground master of the underworld. Download the complete TXT collection and read the latest chapters of the Underground Master of the Underworld. Chapter 1. Ghost and Divine Rain Rites. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Ghost and Divine Rain Rites Deep Valleys and Steep Mountains. As the night deepens and the sun sets in the west, there is a five-colored altar above the mountains, and the green candles flicker endlessly. The figure in front of the altar sways, moving and jumping, and the music is melodious. Behind the altar lies a vast abyss, with dozens of black shadows wriggling and roaring on the cliffs. With towering heads and green eyes, it turns out to be the python lurking beneath the abyss. The table stands alone on the mountain, and the clouds appear to be below. The night is dark, the Chang people are dark, and the east wind is drifting with divine rain. Artemisia grass burned, and green smoke curled up, flying towards the sky with hymns and arriving at the place of the gods, witches, and ghosts that day. The priests were dressed in peculiar attire, dressed in bright red clothes, wearing triangular white hats, and wearing a copper ring in their right hand, jumping and ringing. What's even more peculiar is that their faces are indigo blue, like ghosts from hell. Surrounded by emptiness, forests, and underwater ghostly shadows. That's right, this is the ghost. A man in the forest looked at everything in front of him. This man, dressed as a scholar, has a face of about 17 or 18 years old. His appearance can be considered delicate, with a semi-transparent body and a bluish-gray face, all of which indicate that he is also a ghost or an entity that cannot be condensed. Surrounded by ghostly mist, the mountain breeze blows, and ghostly shadows slowly wriggle forward along the green mist. Under the pale moonlight, this place looks like a ghost. Compared to the ghosts wriggling forward, the scholar took half a step back. The scholar's name is Tang Ping. He was originally from a different world, but on the first day he wore it, he died due to the war. After death, he came to this underworld and became a wandering evil spirit. 100-li radius is ruled by a guy named Tang Shen, and now the Yu-li ceremony is held, which means a spring festival. The person responsible for organizing the ceremony is called the witch wizard, Nianxi, and the witch and male wizard are responsible for organizing the ceremony. Burning mugwort smoke flew into the sky. Tang Ping felt that it was still not safe enough. After determining the direction, he bypassed and entered the dense forest on the other side, continuing to walk in the dark forest. Fortunately, ghosts were not afraid of darkness and could see things at night. Stepping on the withered leaves, the pile of leaves made a creaking sound. This is the underworld, where ghosts live like mortals in the mortal world. For a long time, the front suddenly opened up, and there were no more weeds or trees around. A big banyan tree came into view. The shade of the tree is like a canopy, covered in black paint for half a mile. The tree's whiskers are like a forest, hanging down in a secluded manner. The trunk is twisted and black like iron. Upon closer inspection, it was covered in eerie red blood vines, about the thickness of a thumb, with faint green ghostly pupil-like patterns on the vines. Under the shade of the trees, there are scattered dozens of wooden houses. The thatch is the top, and the tree's whiskers are the bones. Tang Ping's wooden house is located on the southwest side of the tree shade, which is relatively remote, about 30 square meters. The wooden door can only slightly block the gaze, and the gap is so large that even a fist can penetrate. Fortunately, it was relatively quiet. At the edge of the tree shade, the closest wooden house to him was 20 feet away. Looking through the cracks in the wooden house, one can see the scene several miles away. Fortunately, it was a ghost, and the night did not affect the view. The black abyss cliff, the hymn never stops. Boom! Suddenly, a pitch-black crack cracked open in the sky, and a faint green light shone in all directions. A black-brown turtle shell that had been burned by flames fell off. The turtle shell emits black light, which forms a huge text. Tang Pingyun looked over with great visual acuity and carefully identified the approximate text. The predecessor was a scholar and official of the Jing Kingdom, who naturally understood some writing. The turtle shell roughly means that the left clan official worships ghosts and gods, offering 150 cows, pigs, sheep, fruits, and drinks, as well as 10 boys and 10 girls each. Wow! The sky falls with turtle shells. Like bait falling into the water to attract a school of fish, the dark and ghostly aura emanating from all directions. Roar! The abyssal python angrily swept through the wind and rain, soaring into the sky with black and green scales and claws like eagles. It rushed forward to feed cattle, sheep, pigs, boys, and girls separately, while the remaining organs and bones continued to fall. Next, a group of 1-foot-tall blue and red-skinned evil spirits with long sheep horns flew out of the jungle and underwater, and their remaining skeletons were devoured by the fiery clouds under their feet. Woo-woo! Jia jia jia! The remaining evil spirits are enveloped in black clouds, like tadpoles with only black tails in the sky, feeding on the remaining blood and mugwort smoke. Countless evil spirits swept through the sky, and the cold wind penetrated into the wooden house, scraping past, causing a tingling sensation in the soul. Tang Ping couldn't help but curl up behind the wooden door, as if it could bring a sense of security. Under the banyan tree, only Tang Ping had people here, and most of the rest went to join in the excitement of the festival. He did not follow the flow to grab these things. These things are not ordinary food, but sacrifices with special energy, and his soul is full of longing for them. The more so, Tang Ping was unwilling to take risks. I have been in this world for over 3 months, and I don't know why I woke up, nor why there is a wooden house. Perhaps the memories of ghosts and monsters are so chaotic. After searching for a long time without finding the so-called golden finger, Tang Ping became more cautious in his heart. This is an irregular underworld. Ghosts, shamans, ghost commanders, and monsters rule this underworld. Nameless ghosts are the lowest level beings in the underworld, and any ghost can kill them. Bang! At this moment, the last thing fell from the world. That is a goose egg yellow jade wall. The jade emits yellow light, and mysterious runes appear faintly in the void. Boom! The earth broke open, and a 10-zhang bronze giant hand stretched out. Its arm was covered in speckled copper rust, wrapped in a green demon fire. It grabbed the jade wall and quickly retreated to the ground. The green fire, with a smell of sulfur, swept through the area for 100 zhang. Just now, the lonely ghosts and ghost soldiers will be affected by a small half, and the flames will burn their souls and bodies before exploding. The bronze hand then disappeared, the ritual ended, the wizard disappeared, and the remaining demons and monsters began to fight each other. The ghosts and monsters either wield magic swords, spit out fire, transform into pitch-black skulls, summon paper figures, wind, and fight with corpses. Under the dark and gloomy sky, there were shining spells and spirits, as well as the cries of ghosts and monsters fighting. Bloody, terrifying, cruel, and the evil of human nature are infinitely magnified. All ghosts want to gain opportunities, they all want to kill others and climb up. Fortunately, I have foresight, Tang Ping said happily. Ghosts like him cannot fly, cannot escape, can only run with their feet, and at first glance, they are cannon fodder that cannot survive 2 episodes in the movie. Fighting against those ghosts and monsters who know magic, taking their own lives as a chance, is indeed a bit risky. Pada suddenly, a black light fell outside the house. Tang Ping's eyes froze and he lowered his head to take a look. This is a bone fragment emitting black smoke. The bone is pale, this is a thigh bone, engraved with pitch black seal script. Tang Ping quietly pushed open the door and looked around. There were no ghosts around the forest, and everyone rushed up to grab things. There was only himself under the banyan tree. This bone may be the remnants of a ghost being killed by flames. It looks like a good thing. Tang Ping ignored the text above and pushed open the wooden door, then picked up his big leg bones and returned to the house. The semi-transparent gray-green body leaned against the door, with its soul flickering and flickering. It's so close. There shouldn't be any ghosts seeing it, right? Although Tang Ping is a Buddhist, it does not mean that he is poorly placed. No one wants to be a ghost with no fixed abode for a lifetime. If one could be stronger and have the capital to settle down in this dangerous underworld, it would be even better. This thigh bone is a chance. Is there a reason not to accept the opportunity bestowed by heaven? After taking a nap, Tang Ping stood up again, looked around, confirmed that there were no people around, and then observed the thigh bones in his hand. The leg bones are slightly larger than those of a normal person. Tang Ping carefully rubbed the cold and smooth bone surface, feeling the touch from his fingertips. Ordinary ghosts do not have such advanced things as bones, and they usually die in the same place with their souls scattered. At first glance, it appears to be left behind by a relatively advanced ghost. At this moment, a colder touch came from the fingertips, as if they were about to freeze their fingers. Tang Ping lowered his head to take a look. A strand of pitch black yin qi emanated from the bone, which was slowly being absorbed by oneself. Boom! At this moment, a loud noise came to his mind, and his eyes burst with blue light. 2 strands of blue light split into countless strands, swimming in the sky like tadpoles, forming a square blue slate. 1.5 feet long and 1.5 feet wide. There are double totems and auspicious flower patterns engraved on the top, bottom, left and right sides, with the characters in the middle arranged vertically from right to left. Underground owner. Tang Ping types. Ghosts, Metamorphoses realm. The underground master has not been opened, 3rd class in total, ghost. Life expectancy. 12 years. Mingqi. None, not opened, divine skill. Gathering yin technique, 0/100, ghost fire technique, 0/100, end of this chapter. Chapter 2. The Eastern Han Dynasty's Land Declaration Strategy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The Eastern Han Dynasty's Land Declaration Strategy. Underground owner. Tang Ping types. Ghosts, Metamorphoses realm. Underground master not opened, 3rd class, ghost life expectancy. 12 years. Mingqi. None, not opened, divine skill. Gathering yin technique, 0/100, ghost fire technique, 0/100, Qing Shu was suspended in the void, and Tang Ping rubbed his eyes, repeatedly confirming that he had read correctly. This scene may appear or disappear with one's own thoughts. This is not. Isn't this something excavated by archaeology before traveling on my own? Before crossing over, I went to a tomb of an Eastern Han Dynasty Marquis in Chang'an with my mentor for excavation work. As the excavation progressed, they discovered that something was wrong with the tomb. The tomb is a royal tomb, but the owner has no name or even bones, only an empty coffin. Tang Ping discovered the Han Dynasty's imperial edict inside the coffin. The so-called land policy, also known as the Huangquan passport by modern people, is a letter of introduction for the deceased to go to the underworld. The text written on it is generally, "On a certain day, month, year, when the tomb owner is buried, inform the underground owner." But this land policy is different. The second half of the Eastern Han Dynasty's strategy to declare the place is the content of the Ming Dynasty's covenant. Mingqi, as the name suggests, is the land contract of the underworld, which confirms ownership of the right to use this land. The two are the most common objects in Qin and Han tombs, but it is the first time they have been combined. And the above content is also very strange. The general idea is to report to Tai God that someone has obtained the position of underground master, and the name of the tomb owner has been erased. This is not a proof of entering the underworld, but rather a proof of employment. And the entire cemetery is full of Taoist style, with soaring courtyards, pavilions, and flags for recruiting and dispatching soldiers. As if the tomb owner had truly dismembered into an immortal. Tang Ping encountered a car accident on his way to escort Gao Dice to the museum. When he woke up, he crossed this boundary and lived for less than a day before dying in the war. Underground Master. Tang Ping looked at the underground owner in the category column and pondered. In Tao Hongjing's Zhen Gao, it is said that the underground master is a civil official who releases the lower Dao. Underground Ghost Commander, released the martial officer of the Dao. It is the name of the early Taoist ghost officials in the underworld. Functions similar to judges, city gods, land officials, etc., these positions will replace future generations. Simply put, the land of the city god was a township head and county magistrate under the feudal centralization system. So the underground lord is a fiefdom-based fiefdom, with greater power within their own territory and more autonomy. Of course, they are all small officials from the underworld, and in mythology, they are all beings who play soy sauce. This is the foundation of settling down and establishing oneself. Tang Ping, however, was very happy. In any case, it is also an ability, and there is not a lack of development space. The underground owner is a local ghost official, who can easily move out of the museum and build a mansion. Rounding is also a gift of a ghost king. The lifespan of an ordinary ghost is only 12 years, which is true. The second to last column, Mingqi, must be buying a land scroll. Buying a land scroll represents one's control over the land, which is different from ordinary ghosts. Unfortunately, it cannot be turned on yet. As for the Juyin and ghost fire techniques, they seem to be the cultivation methods on the ghost bone just now. The former is a superficial method of absorbing yin qi, while the latter goes without saying much. Tang Ping sat on the ground according to the content of the martial arts and practiced according to the content of the Juyin technique. With 5 hearts facing the sky, except for a semi-transparent body, there is no difference from an ordinary person. The practice of ghosts has a huge drawback, which is the lack of human meridians. The way to cultivate is to open your mouth and absorb yin energy. Tang Ping opened his mouth and took a breath of air conditioning. Visualize the air conditioning starting from the throat and slowly descending to the Tanzhong acupoint, with the Tanzhong acupoint as the center, spreading evenly to other parts of the body. The process is complex and requires a very focused perception of every inch, and a complete visualization of the root is required. Equivalent to silently reciting from 1 to 10,000. Even if it happens once a second, it still takes more than 3 hours. Failed several times in a row. Every time the distraction fails. It's too difficult to concentrate, especially for modern people with weak concentration. It's not enough to just have an idea, the key is to see one's own perseverance. 2 hours later. Finally, Tang Ping felt a chill in his abdomen. There seemed to be a faint coolness in the area of Xiaodanshan, and in Tang Ping's induction, there was a jet-black airflow the size of a hair. With the birth of the airflow, Tang Ping felt that his strength had improved significantly. This is yin power. Something's wrong, how did you succeed once? Tang Ping was puzzled. In theory, it requires persistent cultivation in order to induce the generation of Yin power. Is it Tang Ping's mind twitched, and the panel appeared in front of him, only seeing the column of supernatural powers. Yin gathering surgery, 1/100, sure enough, as long as you complete the complete cultivation once, your progress can increase. Tang Ping stood up excitedly, but his heart couldn't calm down for a long time. Heaven rewards diligence, no effort, no harvest. Isn't this the biggest golden finger? How many people practice day and night, wasting half their lives without seeing any results? And not only do I reap the rewards of my efforts, but I can also see the progress of my efforts, which is a divine opportunity. The cultivation method has also been established, and the path ahead has also been established. In the future, I will hide here and practice secretly, even if the sky falls. Tang Ping's inner sense of security has greatly increased. At this moment, my head suddenly felt a bit dizzy, I almost couldn't stand steadily, and my soul suddenly flickered. Tang Ping didn't panic either. He first glanced at the room. The house is not big, about 20 or 30 square meters. One room, one bed, one room. This is Tang Ping's home in the underworld. He walked under the bed, pulled out a small black jar, lifted the lid, and inside was something like mud. This is ghost mud, the lowest level ingestion substance of ghosts. Ghosts also need housing, otherwise there is a risk of being robbed by lonely and wild ghosts. It goes without saying that we also need to eat. If we can survive without eating, then we are not ghosts, but immortals. Tang Ping suppressed his nausea and ate it. No taste, muddy texture. I heard that high-end foods include ghost rice, ghost candles, mugwort smoke, demon blood, and so on. Eating these foods can increase cultivation. I will obtain these after I have the ability. After finishing the meal, the dizziness disappeared immediately. Put the black altar back to its original position. Just now, due to the awakening of the panel, the thigh bone was probably drained of Yin Qi, and thus turned into a pile of ashes. Tang Ping lay down, carefully swept his fingers into a pile, and then secretly threw it outside the house. Another night has passed. From time to time, there was a clamor outside, indicating that the ghosts who had gone out to search for opportunities had returned. Tang Ping is not very familiar with them and has a nodding acquaintance. The blood moon fades away, and the gray sun appears. One night passed. Tang Ping pushed open the pitch-black wooden door, and at this moment, 15 meters away from the wooden house, the nearest house opened simultaneously. Caught out an old man from it. The old man has grayish hair and a skin color as light as that of an ordinary ghost. There is a deep cut on his neck, and only a little skin is left between his head and body. Oh, little brother. I got up quite early. When the old man walked out of the door, his head swayed and hung on his chest, swinging like a swing, banging against the door. Cough. Tang Ping almost couldn't hold his breath. Yes, good morning, Grandpa Zhang. This is the decapitated old Zhang, who can also be considered a good ghost. Didn't you go out last night to try your luck? Asked the guillotine old Zhang. I dare not, it's too dangerous, Tang Ping thought to himself. If there are benefits, it's your turn. I'm afraid I won't be able to secure any benefits. Ah, I really envy you young people. I don't have many yin and show, unless I become a demon soul, said Zhang, with a gloomy expression on his severed head. Wow. Suddenly, green mist filled the air. Tick by tick. A pale and thin horse emerged from the mist. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Ghosts do not see the earth, and people do not see the wind, seeking follow. Up reading. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Ghosts do not see the earth, and people do not see the wind, seeking follow. Up reading. Who? Green mist permeates, banyan trees rustle, and fallen leaves fall one after another. The movement was very loud, and the ghosts of 16 households under the banyan tree came out. Some ghosts are husband and wife, some are a family of 4, with men and women, some big and some small. Some are like Tang Ping and Lao Zhang, who are alone and alone. A pale and thin horse leaped out of the green mist. The horse was thin and thin, with a pair of fake eyes drawn in black ink. Upon closer inspection, it was a paper horse. On the back of the horse was a strong man dressed in black, with a solid soul. Following closely behind the horse were 4 semi-transparent ghosts, like ordinary people, wielding swords and shields, watching with great eyes. Tang Ping recognized this person. 100 li radius is known as Sanjing, which is under the jurisdiction of the Tang God's faction. All output on this land must be handed over to Tang God and his subordinates. The forest where Tang Ping and his companions are located is called Green Cotton Forest, and the ruler is the Blackwood ghost under the command of Tang Shen. This is the long sword Lu under the hands of the Blackwood ghost, who was an executioner during his lifetime. Steward Lu. Manager Lu is good. Lu stopped his paper horse with a long sword, his toes held high, and he looked at everyone from above. Did you not hide anything last night? I dare not. Who dares to hide anything? The ghosts quickly said. The decapitated old Zhang beside Tang Ping trembled with fear, and Long Knife Lu keenly caught this scene. Someone, search one by one, even if you scrape 3 feet, you need to check this guy's room carefully. Long Sword Lu pointed at the decapitated old Zhang. Yes. 4 ghost soldiers searched one by one. The first house in Tang Ping. Ghost soldiers have rich experience in stealing homes. The roof, eaves, crevices in every corner, and tapping the floor to create hollowing. Except for Tang Ping and a few others, the decapitated old Zhang, a hanged ghost, and starving ghost, and a couple were found in their home, along with the black altar of souls, ghost black rice, bronze sword, and a pair of dog teeth. Tang Ping secretly felt grateful upon seeing this. Fortunately he was careful and cautious, otherwise he would have been discovered. As I just thought, even if I gain benefits, how can I keep them? Long Dao Lu held a palm-sized black altar, on which strange runes were carved. Tsk tisk, that's a good trick. Where did you come from? I almost got deceived by you, old man. This type of soul altar can accommodate soul bodies and provide yin energy. These few. Give me a hard lesson. Long Sword Lu glanced contemptuously at everyone present, and the white paper horse sprayed a mouthful of evil energy, causing its 4 hooves to kick restlessly. 4 ghostly soldiers stepped forward, punched and kicked, and fiercely slashed their bodies with scabbards, causing their souls to twinkle and their wounds to emit black energy. Ghost injuries can affect lifespan. The decapitated old Zhang supported his head and kept kowtowing for mercy. Please spare your life, sir. I only have less than half a year left in my lifespan. I have developed greed for a while, and I hope you can forgive me. The ghost soldiers fought for half a day, leaving the ghosts on the brink of death. Humph, this is just a small punishment. Don't take anything that shouldn't be taken. There will be another time. Buzz. The knife flashed with a flash of light. Lao Zhang and the other ghosts each broke 1 leg. Long Sword Lu put away his precious sword. If it weren't for the usefulness of these people, none of them would have survived. Next month's ghost cotton will be paid 30% more. Abandoning this sentence, Long Knife Lu left with his loot and subordinates. The ghosts returned to the room in frustration. The tree of this banyan tree needs to grow a type of cotton. Every certain season, the cotton blooms, and they will pick the cotton to exchange for food. The big head is handed over, and the small head is theirs. Overall, the Blackwood ghosts are the officials in this area, and they have to pay taxes no matter what they grow. If Tang Ping had not awakened his policy of informing the enemy, he would probably have ended up with Lao Zhang. He secretly decided in his heart that he must embark on the path of cultivation. The first step is to understand the common sense of cultivation in this world. The second step is to activate the Underground Master. Tang Ping speculated that activating the Underground Master would require a certain level of Yin power. The benefits of opening an Underground Master are currently unknown, but one can also guess. Firstly, it is the function of meditation, which controls a certain territory. Within this territory, there should be characteristics such as controlling earth power, essence, and so on. Battles within the territory may also receive bonuses. Tang Ping's current goal is very simple, which is to be stable, have his own self-protection ability, and not be too conspicuous. All of this has to be done secretly. At this moment, Tang Ping saw Lao Zhang crawling towards the residence on the ground bit by bit. Lao Zhang looked miserable, with his soul almost transparent and half of his legs missing. He probably won't live long. Tang Ping stepped forward to assist. Grandpa Zhang, please take it slow. Cough, could you please, Brother Tang? Lao Zhang smiled bitterly and said. Tang Ping helped him into the house and then returned to his own home, taking out the remaining ghost mud. Eat something first. Lao Zhang buried his head and took a few bites, and Tang Ping felt strange watching these scenes from the side. There is only a little skin left on the neck, how is the food digested? What do you want to know? Old Zhang's expression improved a lot as he put down the jar and looked at Tang Ping with his muddy eyes. His voice was hoarse and he smiled, what do you want to know? He saw Tang Ping's purpose at a glance. This kid looks low-key, but after getting to know him more, it's clear that he's not willing to be ordinary. Tang Ping also does not beat around the bush. I would like to know the cultivation path of our ghosts. Huh, you kid. I'll tell you what I know now. Lao Zhang knew he didn't have many days to live, so it didn't matter if he told Tang Ping. This is not a secret, even the older ghosts know it. Ordinary souls dissipate in 7 days, and by chance they become ghosts, just like us. Ordinary ghosts have a lifespan of 12 years. If they have the opportunity to consume spiritual items such as rice and water rich in yin energy, or obtain the method of absorbing the essence of the sun and moon, they can increase their lifespan by a certain amount, up to a maximum of 40.19. This is the limit of ordinary ghosts. Ghosts are the cultivation methods that absorb the essence of the sun and moon, as well as the essence of heaven and earth, and give birth to yin power. They use spells to awaken the flying and wall-piercing powers, which are called evil spirits. The long sword Lu just now is the Sha soul. The Sha soul has a lifespan of 81 years and can enter the mortal world whenever the gates of hell open. Above the Sha soul is a wandering god, with a soul body almost like that of a mortal, constantly entering and exiting the mortal world. This is what I know, the rest is not very clear. Where is the mortal world when entering and exiting? Why do you have to go? Tang Ping asked his own doubts. The underworld is monotonous and barren, with abundant resources in the underworld. As for where the underworld is, it's right above my head. Old Zhang, who had cut his head, pointed to the sky. Ghosts do not see the earth, people do not see the wind. Ghosts can live freely in the earth world. In the eyes of mortals, their feet are a solid piece of land. Ghosts see the mortal world in the same way. Every gentle breeze, every faint light, and ubiquitous flowing air in the mortal world is like a thick storm wall for ghosts. I see, thank you very much, Senior. Tang Ping expressed his sincere gratitude. Hee, I'm a bit tired. The decapitated old Zhang waved his hand, his expression somewhat tired, and his soul was on the verge of dissipating. I'll take my leave first. Tang Ping bowed deeply, first to thank Lao Zhang for his clarification, and second to thank Lao Zhang for his support over the past 3 months. By the way, there is a mountain stream in the southwest of the forest, and there is a cold pond along the upstream. Every 15th, there will be various ghosts trading with each other. Remember not to reveal your identity. Behind Tang Ping, there came the voice of the decapitated old Zhang. Cherish. Tang Ping paused in his footsteps. I only heard a long sigh coming from behind. Sighs contain a hint of regret, a hint of nostalgia, and a hint of unwillingness. This is the last breath of anger for ghosts, and after venting it, their souls will flee. Returning to the room, Tang Pingping's face was gloomy, and he must never follow in the footsteps of Lao Zhang in the future. A hazy and gloomy haunted house. Tang Ping practiced calmly, breathing in the moonlight yin qi, and gradually advancing towards the path of the underground master. This work has been signed and is about to change its status. Invest quickly. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Gathering yin to extend life, Paperman Trading, seeking follow-up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Gathering yin to extend life, Paperman Trading, seeking follow-up, 7 days later. The wooden house is gloomy. A man in white sat cross-legged. His face is blue and gray, his soul and body are transparent, and his body is shrouded in a dark and gloomy aura. For a long time, the man in white opened his eyes, and the blue yin energy in his ghostly eyes flashed away. Tang Ping stood up, inside the dark wooden house, his eyes shining inexplicably. I saw him extend his right hand, with his index and middle fingers together. Wow! A faint green ghostly flame suddenly rose from my fingertips. Ghost fire is not hot, but rather has an astonishing coldness. Tang Ping's mind twitched. Wow! Ghost flames floated out and circled in the air before disappearing. Tang Ping put away his spell and a panel appeared again in front of him. Juyin Technique, 7/100, Ghost Fire Technique, 21/100, the technique of gathering yin can increase slightly in a day, while the technique of Ghost Fire can increase by 3 points in a day. Nowadays, the yin power in the body is slightly greater than that of hair, and it can release Ghost Fire Technique about 3 times. Tang Ping thought to himself. The power of Ghost Fire Technique is not too great, even if it is critically injured, it is only at the level of causing injury. However, it's not a big deal. The awakening declaration has only been 7 days so far. What if it's a month? How about 100 days? If you persist in practicing, the power of Ghost Fire Technique will surely be powerful. Having such a panel that allows him to face up to his hard work, Tang Ping's heart is full of enthusiasm. After experimenting with some spells, Tang Ping regained his ordinary appearance once again. He walked out of the door. Through the shade of trees above, the sky is gray and the sun is dark. The weather in the underworld remains unchanged for millions of years. Under the banyan tree, it is somewhat dark, with thousands of dark brown tree whiskers hanging down, and the twisted trunk covered in red blood tang. This is ghost blood vine, a vine that parasitizes large trees to absorb nutrients. Wow! At this moment, it started to drizzle lightly. The rain beats against the leaves and flows down the tree's whiskers, nourishing the plants and trees. At this time, some trees grow blood-red small spores, as if some fruit is growing. Tang Ping sighed and walked forward, using his nails to remove any excess spores from each tree beard. Tree whiskers should be about the thickness of a thumb, and each root should not exceed 5 spores, otherwise the spores cannot grow vigorously. These spores are the fruits of ghost cotton. The ghosts under the banyan tree and 3 identical banyan trees not far away all make a living from it. Watering once every 5 days will produce cotton in 3 months. After the cotton matures, Long Knife Lu will bring the big head ghost merchant to purchase it, usually for food exchange, and rarely for ghost money exchange. After all, their labor income is only enough for them to survive. How can I pick cotton if my skin color is not correct? Tang Ping self-deprecatingly said. No, isn't green-gray skin also a type of black? You deserve to pick cotton. Many ghosts nearby also took advantage of the rain to do the same job. Tang Ping did not intend to talk to them. Ghosts are not easy to form, either they have resentment in their hearts or they are different from ordinary people in some aspects. In short, It's not easy to provoke. Especially when one has a big secret. Jia. At this moment, the wooden house of Duan Tu Lao Zhang opened. Step out of a strange-looking ghost. She has a money mouse tail, a mustache, and a big eye behind her neck. Back-eyed ghost. It seems to be called Hachi, who is also a resident under this banyan tree. He held Lao Zhang's jar, chair, clothes, and other items. Seeing Tang Ping's gaze coming over, Hachi hugged something tightly and muttered, "The old guy is dead, I'm thinking no one wants it." After speaking, he ignored Tang Ping and walked straight towards his own home. Before leaving, he glanced at Lao Zhang's home, as if he would come again next time. Tang Ping did not argue with him. Hasai looks strange, but he is also an ordinary ghost. According to the memory of its predecessor, there was no unified dynasty in the mortal world, but rather a state of various kingdoms, including the exotic kingdoms. The person in the back eye is also an outsider. The big-headed ghost who came to collect cotton a while ago is an outsider from the Big Head country. They can also become ghosts after death. In the following days, Tang Ping focused on cultivation. One day, Tang Ping woke up, restrained his yin energy, and exclaimed with surprise. Unexpectedly, the lifespan has increased. The proficiency level of Juyin technique has exceeded 10, and the lifespan has increased from 12 years to 13 years. That is to say, if you continue to practice the gathering yin technique, your lifespan will continue to increase. Don't worry about lifespan anymore. Under his calculation, he finally found the key points of cultivation. Juyin technique can only be performed once a day, and ghost fire cannot exceed 3 times. Otherwise, there will be hunger and dizziness. Tang Ping concluded that the consumption was too high. Inside the wooden house, Tang Ping took out a charcoal pen and wrote his experience on the ground. Limiting the number of times may be due to insufficient food intake, which cannot support cultivation. Tang Ping wrote 2 lines of methods on the ground. One is to work hard to grow cotton and exchange more food with merchants. The second is to go to the Mountain Valley Ghost Market mentioned by Duan Tu Lao Zhang. According to Lao Zhang, the Mountain Stream Ghost Market may have cultivation materials that are not available in typical ghost markets. But in such a damp and dark place, danger is definitely inevitable. Tang Ping still doesn't want to take risks. It takes 3 months to cultivate the gathering yin technique to 100, and more than 30 days to cultivate the ghost fire technique to 100. After completing the cultivation, there may be a qualitative change. Isn't it just a few short months? I still have plenty of time and don't need to take risks for it. It's not like there's no other way out. Moreover, if your strength is not enough, it is not suitable to go out. If you have enough strength in the future, you may want to take a look if you lack food. It definitely won't work now. There is no such thing as order in the underworld. If others don't like you, they will kill you without any punishment. If you die, you don't know who to turn to for trouble. Oh, I have it. Tang Ping's spiritual light flashed, he couldn't go by himself. Can someone else explore the way? Isn't there a ready-made guy just now? At night, Tang Ping sneaked out and after careful observation, he sneaked into Lao Zhang's house. His senses are very sensitive now, and he has confirmed that no one has noticed him. Quickly threw a wooden board with written words under old Zhang's bed, and then returned to the room. The address of Shanjian Ghost City is written on it, and there seems to be some unusual words about luck. With Hasai's temperament, it is estimated that he will come again. In the following days, Tang Ping devoted himself to cultivation. Occasionally carrying a wooden bucket, I walked to a small stream outside the forest to fetch water and irrigate cotton spores. A few days later, Hachi emptied old Zhang's house and saw this guy's sneaky appearance. Tang Ping knew that this guy must have found a wooden board, and from now on, he would see if this guy dared to go. 20 days later. The proficiency level of Juyin technique is 31, and the ghost fire technique has been successfully reset. Inside the wooden house. Boom. A gray-green ghost fireball the size of a human head hangs in the void. A cold chill emanated from all around. The flickering light carried Tang Ping's green and gray face, with a ghostly aura. Whoosh. The flame extinguished. Ghost fire technique, 0/1000, Xiao Cheng. The ghost fire technique entered the realm of Xiaocheng, and looking back on the day when the long sword Lu made a cut, Tang Ping felt that his fireball was completely unbeatable. I don't have a realm of soul killing, but my spells have almost soul killing power. Not enough, continue to fill up. Tang Ping took a break and practiced again. Long Dao Lu is just a small horse, and there are many who are stronger than him. 2 spells need to be constantly practiced and broken through. A few more days have passed. On this day, cotton is in full bloom. Tang Ping filled his area with 3 burlap bags. Wow, another wave of green mist. Several white paper horses emerged from the mist. Following the paper horse were 4 strange people with pale faces and rouge on both sides of their cheeks. The strange person not only has a pale face, but also a snow-white complexion, with a smile that extends to the ears. He not only applies rouge, but also lipstick. This is a paper man. The paper man was carrying a bamboo sedan chair, and on the chair sat a big-headed ghost with a disheveled head and a head and body as high. De Shou Xing Shang. Bang bang. Long sword Lu struck the gong under his hand. What are you doing? Come over quickly. 18 ghosts came over carrying burlap bags, and Tang Ping was behind the crowd. At this moment, there were still many ghosts carrying sacks from outside, with over 100 ghosts present. The old rule is to hand in 40% of the Blackwood ghost boss, and considering your performance a few days ago, deduct another 30%. The total is 70%. Do you have any objections? Seeing the expression on Long Dao Lu's face, it is certain that he will embezzle 30% of it. The faces of the ghosts remained unchanged, but they dared not say anything. Tang Ping saw Hachi's expression suddenly become firm, as if he had made some kind of determination. The fish has taken the bait. A harvest of 300 pounds. The ghosts came forward one by one to weigh the pounds. Tang Ping's harvest was 300 pounds, and after deducting 70% of the commission, there was also a harvest of 90 pounds. What for? The big-headed ghost has a white face and red lips, a man's appearance, an old lady's voice, and an abacus in her hand, feeling extremely uncomfortable. Replace all with ghost mud. The cotton was deducted by 30% and there was no extra money. Tang Ping went home and took out the black altar. The big-headed ghost opened the leather bag at his waist and poured out a pile of mud with a clatter. It was poured onto the iron scale tray, weighing about 30 pounds, before the bag was taken away. The paper man loaded the mud into the altar. Is this a storage bag? Tang Ping thought to himself that this item was indeed convenient. The merchant left. Long Sword Lu rode onto the horse and glanced at the crowd. Work hard, don't play tricks, drive. The ghosts disappeared into the black mist. When I achieve great martial arts, spit out everything I have eaten. Tang Ping thought to himself and then carried the black altar back home, and with just a month's worth of inventory, it was barely enough to eat. The next day. Deep in the forest, there was no one around. A thin and small wild boar arched the ground. Bang! Suddenly, a dark green fireball burst into the air and directly shattered the lower body of the wild boar. The scattered dark green cold fire caused small pits to appear on the ground. A man in white emerged from the grass. This person is Tang Ping. He walked up to the wild boar, and after the rusty knife pierced its neck, the wild boar's green pupils suddenly extinguished. There are no living creatures in the underworld, and wild boars are also a type of underworld creature born after the death of a living creature. Dark blood and icy flesh are also considered supplements to ghosts. Tang Ping carefully cut open the black skin and cut off the areas that had rotted from the cold fire. There's no way, practicing is too exhausting. Eat some meat to supplement it. Cut the meat into strips and carefully wrap it in cloth. He's already a ghost, so naturally there's no such thing as eating raw or cooked. After finishing these, Tang Ping swaggered back home, holding a handful of ferns and wild vegetables in his hand, pretending to pick wild vegetables and fruits. The ghosts here are all like this, using some game to adjust their lives. His behavior is not too conspicuous. As for the wild boar meat, don't expose it. Ordinary ghosts, not from a hunter's background, suddenly bringing back a wild boar can be quite shocking. After returning, I immediately took out 2 meat strips and enjoyed them, which tasted unpleasant, but I got used to it. Night falls, and the blood moon is full. Today is the night of the 15th full moon. Tang Ping quietly opened a crack in the door and looked at the blood-red moon, waiting for a certain figure. The update time in the future will be December 2000, noon and 7:08 p.m. respectively. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. I am the Marquis of Youdu Pavilion, 2000 stones in the tomb. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. I am the Marquis of Youdu Pavilion, 2000 stones in the tomb. Under the blood moon, Hasai quietly went out. The door is open. Tang Ping sneaked into the darkness. Although there are other ghosts living in this place, it is not easy to be discovered when they come out. The nearest Lao Zhang's house is 20 zhang away, and there are tree whiskers hanging in the middle, which greatly blocks the view. In addition, Tang Ping lives at the edge of the tree shade, and a few steps forward will lead to the deep mountains and old forests. Tang Ping entered the forest, and since practicing the technique of gathering yin, his soul has become much stronger, with an increase in endurance and speed. Unfortunately, it's not a demonic soul. It would be great if it could fly and pass through the wall. He was hanging from a distance of several hundred meters behind Hasai. This guy has eyes behind his neck, it's not good if he's found out. Ahead, Hasai marched along the upstream of the mountain stream. This time, I must make a name for myself. Hachi secretly made up his mind not to be bullied again. What I got from Lao Zhang is the revelation from heaven to myself. No wonder Lao Zhang lived so long, but this old man is a waste and has no chance to fight for it. Life in this world is about striving for vitality on the front line of life and death. Compete with heaven for life, with earth for treasure, and with men for victory. Just as he was thinking about it, he gradually came upstream. There was a thick green mist ahead, and the light in the mist flickered from time to time, with faint voices coming. Gaga gaga. At this moment, at the top of the tree, a blue-eyed crow suddenly called out. The sound startled Hachi. What a broken thing, get lost. When people are down and out, even crows look down on themselves. Bounce and thump. At this moment, the crow flew up. Wow. The crow exhaled black air from its mouth, leaped into the air, and dived down. Gaga gaga. Not good. Help me. Wow. The crow fell and transformed into a pitch-black hand, grabbing and crushing half of Hasai's body. Don't, please spare your life, young man. I dare not. A mere ghost, unable to even see through a small illusion, dares to come over. Wow. The Yin wind blew by, and Hachi's soul was shattered. Tang Ping was taken aback by the grass several miles away. Sure enough, there's a trick. Tang Ping, you're still drifting away. After learning some spells, you want to come out and explore. Fortunately, I was cautious, or rather reserved for it. In fact, there is no hope for the so-called ghost market in this world. There is no specialized market order for people, and once they go outside, they just rely on their fists to speak. Tang Ping turned around and went back. It's better to be cautious and not fight against these rolling kings. Ghost markets are not just places for trading goods. Nowadays, fighting wild monsters can also maintain cultivation. When your cultivation is strong and your soul can no longer be maintained, then consider the ghost market. Tang Ping sneaked back on the way. After passing by Lao Zhang's door, he paused again and returned home, taking out a new wooden board and throwing it under Lao Zhang's bed. Wait for the next destined person, hee. Let's see which profit-driven guy is willing to explore for himself. Don't blame Tang Ping for being cunning. Who allowed you to enter someone else's house? If I don't have this malicious intention in my heart, wouldn't there be no follow-up? Afterwards. Tang Ping never steps outside the main gate, and apart from going hunting, he hardly participates in adventures. For him, he had his own strategy, and his cultivation did not encounter any bottlenecks, so he did not need to fight for resources. Time is gradually passing by. 3 months have passed. Changdao Lu has started a new round of search and scraping. The boss of the Blackwood Ghost said, in the future, we will draw 60% of the total. The ghosts dare not speak in anger. Tang Ping vaguely guessed something. Recently, he has heard a lot of rumors that it seems to be the Blackwood Ghost fighting against a hostile force. In the underworld of Sanjing, order is also very chaotic. Tang Shen disregards worldly affairs and ignores the power of his subordinates. As long as the taxes are sufficient, he doesn't care about anything else, no matter how his subordinates fight. Some ghosts may have a beautiful scene today, but they may also die on the streets the next day. After 3 months of cultivation, the yin qi reaches the thickness of the little finger, and the ghost fireball is fast and accurate. But Tang Ping doesn't want to expose it. As the saying goes, he has treasures with him. Why bother to compete with others for something? Isn't it good to lie down and practice? Of course, the Liangzi of Changdao Lu must be remembered, and there will be plenty of opportunities to clean up in the future. Another 3 days have passed. At night. The sky was filled with gusts of dark wind, and the blood moon was obscured by dark clouds. The cinnabar moonlight scattered on the earth disappeared without a trace. Inside the wooden house. Tang Ping was surrounded by yin qi, completely covering his body. Boom. At this moment, Tang Ping opened his eyes, emitting a blue light, and a cold temperament bloomed. The proficiency of the Juyin technique is satisfactory. Wow! At this moment, a void appeared in the ground, and this blue stone slab emitted an aura of ancient vicissitudes. The blue light shone brightly and hung above the head. Tang Ping was shrouded in blue light, his soul and body changing. The blue and gray face has transformed into a black and white pattern, which is dark but not dull, with a black iron luster and a ghostly aura mixed with divine power. Tang Ping fell into a state of both mystery and mystery. The surrounding scenery disappeared, and my body seemed to be absent. Chaos, silence, and coldness. For a long time, Tang Ping's body appeared in the void, still resembling a divine body wearing a black and white patterned mask. Following closely, a huge creature appeared in the darkness below. Without seeing the head or the tail, the whole body is composed of earthy yellow essence, resembling reality and illusion. The body has 9 curves, like a yellow dragon. Seemingly living, but not like living. Compared to Tang Ping, it feels like the sea is like a fine needle. Hutu. In ancient times, myths also had concrete manifestations. The ancient book goes. There is a chieftain underground who guards the gateway, with his body curved 9 times. This is not a deity, but an abstract concept of the earth that has been deified in later generations. Is there no underworld clergy in this era? Based on his own archaeological knowledge, Tang Ping roughly deduced the truth. At this moment, heaven and earth underwent another transformation. 8 stone gates appear in each of its 8 directions. The stone of Shermen is simple in texture, with ancient and rustic patterns depicted, arranged in the direction of the 8 trigrams. Bang, bang, bang blocks of blue bricks fell from the world, engraved with ancient ghost-making talismans. Unexpectedly, he smashed it towards himself, stacking 8 or 60.4 green bricks into a tomb shape, burying Tang Ping in it. Following closely with the announcement, he fell into the grave. Seal the soil and bury the roll. Tang Ping only felt a mysterious aura falling from the 9 heavens and rising from the yellow spring, with 2 channels of essence merging into his body. Shwa. Tang Ping suddenly woke up and found himself in a wooden house. Is this over? Tang Ping looked at himself in surprise and breathed a sigh of relief when he found that there were not many missing parts. Immediately summoned the strategy of telling the ground. Underground owner. Tang Ping types. Ghosts, Metamorphoses realm. 3rd class underground master, ghost life expectancy. 22 years. Mingqi. Nun magic. Gathering Yin technique, 0/1000, Xiaocheng, ghost fire technique, 300/1000, Xiaocheng. The realm has changed from an unopened underground master to a 3rd class underground master, and the word unopened has also been removed from the column of the secret agreement. Sensing information in the mind, and then sensing the facial features and patterns. Tang Ping finally confirmed that he had become an underground master. Although the strength has not changed, there has been a huge transformation in identity. Tang Ping wished he could let out a loud roar to vent his emotions, but he was afraid of being exposed and just silently punched, with a calm and excited tone. I am the underground master of the underworld. Marquis of Youdu Pavilion. 2,000 stones in the tomb. The scene just now is equivalent to being granted titles and titles in the human world, representing one's formal recognition of the policy of the region. What is an underground owner? Youdu Mingzhu also. The underground master is a deity in the underworld, appearing humble and lowly, but with great potential for actual development. If the land god and city god were officials under a centralized system of power, so the underground lord is a nobleman under the system of enfeoffment. The former requires the imperial edict of the emperor, heavenly court, to have power, and their status can be deprived at any time, making their power relatively one-sided. Land can only manage land, not water, forests, houses, or communities. The city god can only manage the city and cannot manage soil, water, and so on. The latter is a title. Let's take the example of the Western Han Dynasty. Even the lowest level of Tingho, who ate hundreds of households in cities, had the power to establish a government and establish a country, with control over political, military, and financial resources. Of course, under a centralized system, the population was large, with township heads often in the thousands or even tens of thousands, and a county often in the tens of thousands. The productivity is even stronger than that of small countries under the feudal system, but they are still marquises, which is a difference in status. Therefore, the underground owner appears to be humble, but in reality, the development potential is not low. Tang Ping digested the information in his mind. In addition to being a 3rd-class underground master, coupled with the reason of being a newcomer, it is actually not considered high. It is equivalent to being a laissez-faire official, a free body, and only having a family residence. The corresponding underground owner is only Hao Shi, as the name suggests, a place with very small management. Now he can consolidate his understanding. Mingqi, also known as buying land scroll, is written with one's name and the scope of the land, representing one's ownership of the place. Of course, in the explanation of the land policy, the place where Mingqi can develop is not just land. Homes vary in size, mountains are not high, immortals are famous, land is not abundant, as long as there are things. How about this room? No, Tang Ping immediately rejected this idea, which was too far-fetched. There was nothing, and after condensing, at most, it would only add a little yin energy. Got it. Tang Ping pushed open the door and looked at the banyan tree not far away. The trees were embraced by 6 people, with only one house occupying an area, but the shade covered half a mile. That's you. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Banyan Tree's Underworld Covenant, Greenwood Fighting Gang Technique, seeking further reading. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Banyan Tree's Underworld Covenant, Greenwood Fighting Gang Technique, seeking further reading, that's you. Tang Ping stared at this banyan tree. Is there anything more suitable than this banyan tree? The trunk and roots of the tree occupy only the size of a house, but the shade covers half a mile. Using this clever method can affect the territory within half a mile, isn't it a win-win situation? Thinking of this, Tang Ping was about to summon the governor. Suddenly, he felt a wave of dizziness in his head, and the black and white lines on his face faded away, leaving him in a normal state. The soul and body suddenly brighten and disappear, and the next second seems to make the soul fly away. Not good. Tang Ping immediately walked to the bed and pulled out the jar. Inside the black jar were several meat strips and ghost mud. He didn't care about so much and frantically stuffed things into his mouth. In no time, a large vat of over 30 pounds of ghost mud and meat strips swept away. After resting on the ground for a while, I finally recovered quite a bit. It's very close. This breakthrough almost killed me. Strength cannot be created out of nothing. Although the yin energy in the body is absorbed from the air, refining the external yin energy also requires one's own energy consumption. If one's own energy intake is insufficient, or if the recovery ability cannot match the speed of expenditure, there is a risk of sudden death. The current situation is either to improve the quality of food in order to quickly restore energy. Either reduce the frequency, such as practicing the gathering yin technique once every 3 days or the ghost fire technique once a day, to restore energy faster. Tang Ping still thinks the former is good. After resting for a while, stand up again and summon the Goji. He has already tried it, and summoning in front of outsiders will not be seen. Visualize the banyan tree in your heart, and fly to the top of it, blooming with blue light. The light slowly blends into the banyan tree. This process will last for approximately 3 hours. Boom! At the moment of success, Tang Ping realized that a complete banyan tree appeared in the depths of the sea. Baowan Zhenjai, Yongbao Anji. In the 12th year of the 35th generation of the kingdom of Jing, the underground lord Tang Ping bought yin soil from the emperor's hudu, a 100-year-old banyan tree. There is an imperial edict under the heavenly talisman, and ghosts cannot compete for recognition. The divine weapon is as urgent as a law. This is the text that appears along with the image of the banyan tree. At the same time, new spells appear on the panel. Underground owner. Tang Ping types. Ghosts, Metamorphoses realm. 3rd class underground master, ghost life expectancy. 22 years. Mingqi. Maoho Shuqi. Divine powers. Maoqi Qingmu Dagang technique. Control with technique, 0/1000, Mu Zhiyu mantra, 0 out of 100, Juyin technique, 0/1000, Xiaocheng, ghost fire technique, 300/1000, Xiaocheng. The name of the century-old banyan tree contract appeared in the column of the Mingqi. Tang Ping found that he could still change the name of the contract. The century-old banyan tree contract doesn't sound good, let's call it Mao Ho Chi. Maozha, the grass and trees are flourishing. 2 spells appear simultaneously, one controlling the wood and the other blocking the moon spell. The former goes without saying much, and the latter. Is it actually illusion? A spell derived from imitating the true meaning of tree shade blocking moonlight. Fantasy is not bad, it's quite practical. If you come out like this, you probably don't have to worry about other eyes seeing it. Inside the wooden house, Tang Ping sensed the banyan trees in the sea. The mind seems to have migrated to the banyan tree as a result. It is itself a tree, and the banyan tree is like an extension of its arms. The ants, birds, and tree whiskers climbing on the tree are clearly visible. Because the main contract was made with banyan trees, Tang Ping is now equivalent to the body of banyan trees. This is the ability of the banyan tree contract. The coverage area of banyan trees, whether above or underground, is clearly visible. As for how to use the ability of banyan trees, it may take until one becomes proficient in controlling trees to explore. Forming a banyan tree will bring about its ability to form other things, such as water flow, mountains, land, and villages. Tang Ping roughly calculated the method of using the contract, but unfortunately, his current strength is insufficient to experiment with more. Afterwards, Tang Ping arranged his cultivation time reasonably. Juyin technique is a fundamental technique that concerns one's realm and cannot be neglected in practice. At least once a day, and the other 3 courses also take place once a day, with a limited amount of time allocated. 2 more months have passed. The open and covert struggles between the external Darkwood ghosts and other forces are still ongoing. With the improvement of proficiency in controlling wood, Tang Ping has learned to mobilize the nutrients of trees and gather more yin energy in his own house. The whereabouts of all the ghosts on the territory are under my control, even any whispers they make. On this day, the gray sun rises for the first time. Tang Ping swaggered out of the mountains and forests, holding a small bag of dried meat, fur, and mineral herbs in his hand. These are all from the mountains. He needs to go to the market to exchange something. Step out of the dense forest and walk towards a small market ahead. The market is located at the foot of the gray mountain. I saw a green mist from a long distance, with many ghostly shadows in it. This is an ordinary ghost market, and Tang Ping has visited it 2 or 3 times. Through the mist, what comes into view is a yellow earth street, lined with vendors setting up stalls and tiled houses. Selling mud. Freshly dug mud weighs 1 and 2 jin. Old bamboo shoots, half a caddy of paper money for 1. There are all kinds of ghosts and monsters on both sides, including children, starving ghosts, hanging ghosts, and bouncing zombies. This place mostly sells ordinary supplies. Tang Ping came to a rice shop. The vendor is a charming woman in her early 30s, with a plump physique and seductive eyes and red lips. Just a glance at her would almost catch the other ghostly eyes. Hey, Tang Xiaoga, what are you selling again today? The shopkeeper, Lady Chui, leaned forward, tempting the hearts and minds of others with faint scents. As usual, dried meat and herbs. Tang Ping, feeling disinterested, handed the bag to Lady Chui. Chui Nyangzi opened the bag and placed it on the counter, flipping her abacus while muttering, "Cut, you little devil who doesn't understand the charm. You're not my dish." Tang Ping smiled and said, "What do you know? People who want to be good with me can rank in your family from here. You don't like men, do you? If you're the only woman left in the world, I don't mind liking men." This sentence made the landlady roll her eyes in anger. Ha! Tang Ping laughed heartily. He had never missed a chance to see anyone. Although the landlady seemed charming, she was only on the surface. Perhaps the reason for this was also to attract business. The fox skin has holes, so it needs to be discounted by half according to the market price. 2 will cost you 205 won. Remember to collect the fox's blood next time, as it will also be collected. The total price of dried meat and herbs is 48 won, which is 50 won for you. The total is 255 won. Chui Nyangzi is also affordable and does not compromise anything. With Tang Ping's current sensing ability and illusory skills, a complete fox skin can be obtained, but it's just too conspicuous. Exchange 10 pounds of ghost rice and give me the remaining 55 won. 10 pounds of ghost rice costs 200 won, and 200 won can buy 400 pounds of ghost mud, which shows how expensive ghost rice is. But this thing is indeed a good thing. Ordinary ghost mud is not enough for oneself to eat. Chui Nyangzi took a cloth bag containing a kind of pitch-black rice and handed it to Tang Ping. "By the way, old Wang, who is hunting next door, invited you to go up the mountain to catch wolves. He asked if you would like to do some work. Maybe you can earn 1,000 won on one trip. Forget it, I don't have this ability. Come back next time. Tang Ping picked up something and left. Selling one's life. How could it be? How can one take risks easily unless absolutely necessary? Now the lifespan is over 20 years. Practice for 20 years first, and by then, all spells will be fully cultivated. Unfortunately, 9 out of 10 things in the world may not go as planned. Ha! You kid! Stop! Tang Ping turned his head and saw that it was Long Dao Lu, who walked slowly over. Long Dao Lu glanced at the cloth bag in Tang Ping's hand and chuckled inwardly, I recognize you, young scholar from the Banyan tree forest. Oh, you secretly made a fortune without telling me. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Killer, 2,000 Stones in the Tomb. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Killer, 2,000 Stones in the Tomb. Oh, why didn't you notify me when you got rich? Long Sword Lu Yinyang's strange airway. As Long Dao Lu spoke, he snatched the bag from Tang Ping's hand and opened it, only to find that it was full of ghost rice. Where did the money come from? Long Knife Lu pondered in his eyes. Tang Ping's heart was filled with murderous intent, but his face did not show it, but instead, his eyes flickered and he deliberately pretended to feel a sense of panic when the secret was discovered. The little man used a trap to hunt 2 foxes, so he sold some fur. Why don't you submit it? Although Long Dao Lu may not be interested in this thing, his attitude of hiding it makes him feel uncomfortable. Everyone is not afraid of death, they insist on offending him. I misunderstood, sir. I will submit it as soon as I am ready to go back. Long Sword Lu rested Tang Ping's shoulder and grinned grimly. Confiscation of things, this is the last chance. Next time, if you dare to hide things privately, oh no, it won't happen again. Got it. This market is also the territory of the leader of the Blackwood Ghost. The steward of the market and himself are not dealing with it. Long Blade Lu temporarily extinguished his mind to teach Tang Ping a lesson here. He has further plans. Tang Ping was so scared that he quickly left. Cui Nyangzi originally wanted to step forward to relieve the siege, but when she saw Tang Ping leave safely, she felt relieved. At this moment, Long Dao Lu walked towards the grain shop and asked, what did that kid exchange for? Cui Nyangzi carefully recalled and smiled brightly, saying, Mr. Lu, it's been a long time since we last met. Are you so concerned about that kid? I don't know what luck this kid had. He caught 2 stray foxes, but unfortunately his skills were not good. He broke several holes and didn't know how to collect fox blood. Otherwise, he could have sold them for a good price. As she was speaking, Lady Cui took out fox skin. Lu, with her long sword, saw that it was indeed the case. Her skin-picking technique was rough and could not compare to that of a hunter. Is it really luck? Long Sword Lu Xingji was lacking, but he still had to observe for a few days and cast a long line to catch big fish, which was also the purpose of letting Tang Ping leave. Not letting go of any anomalies or opportunities. If it had been before, he might have pulled Tang Ping out and beheaded him. Now that the situation is tense, he can't afford to worry so much. After speaking, Long Knife Lu walked out of the market, and a paper horse and 4 paper figures flew out of his sleeve. Paper figures and horses rise in the wind. Under the protection of paper figures, Long Knife Lu Sun quickly left. Now the boss of the Blackwood Ghost and the 100-legged bug are fighting fiercely, and often his colleagues are intercepted halfway. He also needs to be careful. The Sanjing under the jurisdiction of Tangshan belongs to a relatively loose power. Blackwood Ghost and 100-legged bug are one of the franchised forces, possibly due to their similar territory, and the 2 generals have never been able to deal with each other. The Yang and Yin are different. In the mortal world, order is emphasized, and the two ghosts each perform their respective duties in the Tang god's mortal realm. This does not hinder the power of both sides from fighting fiercely in the underworld. Tang Shen will not pay attention to these, as long as the benefits of submitting are sufficient. The matter between the Blackwood ghost and the 100-legged bug is not over yet, and it is normal for both sides to send people to their respective territories to cause trouble. Tang Ping returned home empty-handed. Long Sword Lu will die. Tang Pingping's face was gloomy, and the murderous intent in his eyes could no longer be sustained. This guy is too greedy and has seriously affected his hidden plans, let alone this guy who has set his sights on him. It's like a dog's skin ointment. He received 60.7% of the 40% tax, and he even specifically inquired with Lady Cui about it. The other officials were only 40%. Judging from this person's personality, it is estimated that they will need to observe themselves for a period of time. At this moment, it's perfect to kill him. Rather than letting danger come to you, it's better to take the initiative to solve the danger. Nowadays, there are frequent wars outside, and there are probably quite a few enemies of the Long Sword Lu family. No matter how much others suspect, they cannot suspect themselves as a farmer. Through the last move of Long Sword Lu, Tang Ping has confidence in using the ghost fire technique to break it. But Long Knife Lu is a demonic soul. The demonic soul can fly through walls and must be killed with one strike. If within the range of banyan trees, it is easy to flash kill, but it is easy to expose oneself. Don't worry for now, hide it for a while longer. Be more stable during this period. There is still some dried meat and ghost mud left under the bed, enough for me to eat for a while. As time goes by, he will become stronger and stronger, and Long Knife Lu is not without flaws. During this period, Tang Ping devoted himself to practicing spells. The techniques of controlling wood, ghost fire, and covering the moon are becoming increasingly popular. The yin energy in the body is also increasing. Meanwhile, through the banyan tree, it was discovered that there was a paper figure hidden on a nearby branch, about the size of a palm, responsible for monitoring one's own activities. Got it. Tang Ping's mind flashed with inspiration. The mind enters the banyan tree, and there are words in the heart. I have received my edict, and I have ordered you to come. 10,000 trees listen attentively, and thunder follows. I saw a palm-sized wooden plaque floating on the trunk of the banyan tree. Unlike other wooden plaques, the plaque was wrapped in green-brown bark, as if it were naturally generated. The crooked and twisted natural patterns on the wooden plaque bear the address of the ghost city in the mountain stream. On the back, there is a record of a full moon on the 15th day, and the hidden objects shine on the cliff walls of the mountain stream. The 7th year of residence of the 20th king of the kingdom of Jing, 200 years ago, with a record of 2,000 stones in the tomb. The wooden plaques in Lao Zhang's room cannot deceive such ghosts, so it's better to make some modifications. The material and pattern are clearly written by someone with deep magic skills. Half of the wooden plaque is embedded in the trunk, seemingly wrapped in a growing banyan tree. One day, several leaves fell from beside the paper man. Long Knife Lu, who placed his divine thoughts on paper figures, noticed this and his gaze focused on the wooden plaque. The fish has taken the bait. At the foot of the mountain, there is a dark white wall and black tiled house. Long Dao Lu looked at the wooden plaque in his hand and pondered deeply. From a long time ago, it has grown together with banyan trees, and it doesn't seem like it's fake. The ghost market recorded above is also an old ghost market that has been around for over 200 years, gathering various ghosts and gods in the world of heaven and earth. He has also visited it several times before. Afterwards, he relaxed his surveillance of Tang Ping. Tang Ping's acting skills were good during this period, often setting traps in the woods and often feeling frustrated for not getting anything. The clumsy technique made people laugh. It was to dig a pit and bury sharp wood to wait for prey, but it really caught a wild boar. It seems like a lucky person. 10 days later. Long Dao Lu went to Ghost Market and walked into a forest covered in thick fog when suddenly his body turned and jumped into the water. Wow! This is the entrance to the Ghost Market. Outside, under the shade of trees, there was a faint gaze. This is Tang Ping, who used the method of covering the moon to become invisible. This is not invisibility, but to conceal one's body and deceive others' cognition. So the entrance to Ghost Market is here. Tang Ping secretly remembered in his heart. In no time, Long Dao Lu came out again. This guy pretends to buy things, but in reality, it's for treasure hunting. I saw him riding a paper horse and running towards another part of the mountain stream. Through the dense forest, we arrived at a cliff. Long Dao Lu stood on the edge of the cliff, looking at the mountain wall below. The blood moon is full, and the blood light shines on the cliff. You can clearly see the moss, weeds, and crazy vines on the cliff. Nothing at all. Kaka at this moment, Long Dao Lu felt his feet tighten. I saw the vines tightly entwined around his feet, and the yin power attached to them prevented him from using the wall-piercing technique to break free. Not good. Long Knife Lu didn't know that he had fallen into a trap or developed an inappropriate greed. He drew his decapitation ghost head sword and was about to cut off the vines. Bang! A fireball flew from the side. The fireball was the size of a person's head, green and cold, and suddenly hit him on the back. The cold flames burned him to pieces. Who exactly is it? Long Sword Lu Yang roared in anger, his pale face covered in pitch-black yin qi. Kaka. The vines are breaking inch by inch. It's another fireball, and countless vines are climbing up. Even if it's not blocking, the sparks splashing out can still cause harm. Not blocking is even worse. Quickly, the soul of Long Blade Lu was decaying and about to extinguish. When it went out, he saw a man walking slowly. The black and white patterns on this person's face slowly fade away. This person is actually Tang Ping. Hey, why did you provoke me? You. No, early. Say. Long Dao Lu almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. Why don't you say it's so strong? And they also launched surprise attacks and pretended to be farmers, shameless with a heart full of regret. Long Knife Lu died. Before death, he was just an executioner, but after death, he became a ghost soul with his evil energy. Unfortunately, he couldn't compare to a true ghost cultivator, let alone an underground master. His whereabouts have long been exposed under Tang Ping's nose. Tang Ping took the Long Sword Lu's ghost head knife and found miscellaneous items on him. A ghost fire destroyed the body and wiped it out. Write a few big characters in place. Killer, 2,000 stones in the grave. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Blackwood Ghost, 5 years of time, seeking follow-up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Blackwood Ghost, 5 years of time, seeking follow-up, killer, 2,000 stones in the grave. 7 days later, it was discovered that Long Knife Lu had disappeared, and those who came to search saw this sentence. Wow! A gust of yin wind blew in. A black cloud fell from the grey sky. There is a tall black shadow on the black cloud. He is 3 zhang tall, dressed in a black robe, with skin made of pitch-black tree bark, and exudes a demonic aura all over his body. This is the Blackwood Ghost. 2,000 stones in the tomb. Do you know who it is? Asked the Blackwood Ghost. I don't know. The other evil spirits all expressed their ignorance. Send someone down to investigate, old ghost. On. A hunchbacked old man holding an oil paper umbrella walked out, and what impressed the old man was that his pale face was covered in corpse spots. You are in charge of the market, and by the way, you are in charge of the people of Long Dao Lu. Also, check where the 2,000 stones in this tomb are sacred. Okay. The Blackwood Ghost appears very perfunctory. After all, this is near the Ghost City, where there is a mix of good and bad. There are cultivators and monsters in the mortal world, as well as evil spirits in the underworld. Who knows which dog has an alias, so this guy can only be blamed for his bad luck. I have busy affairs on my end, so I don't necessarily have to put in all my effort. Inside the wooden house. Tang Ping looked at the small bag in his hand, which was made of linen material and wore silver thread in the middle, outlining a strange pattern. Input a bit of Yin power and suddenly sense a mysterious space. Approximately 2 cubic meters in size, it contains various items, including a bag of ghost rice weighing around 10 to 20 pounds, a small bag of unknown herbs, 2 small bottles, a paper horse, 2 paper figures, and a pile of bot coins. There are over 1,000 pieces in total. Where are the secrets? Where are the secrets in the novel? Just now Tang Ping was thinking, could this be the legendary storage bag? He thought he could find a secret script or something, but he didn't even have any yarn. On second thought, who carries the secret script with them every day? I can't fight with others until halfway through, and suddenly I say, wait a moment, I'll see the moves first. Thinking of this scene, Tang Ping couldn't help but laugh. But that's enough. Ghost Rice is not worried, 2 bottles are fox blood and turtle blood, both animals have spiritual communication, let alone their fresh blood. The soul body smells this smell and has a sense of longing. When it breaks through the spell realm next time, it can be used to supplement the body's deficit. In addition to these parts, there is also a ghost head knife. From the traces on it, it should have killed many people before death, making it a powerful weapon. All the things were put into the bag, and countless strands drilled out from the ground, pulling the cloth bag into the ground. It's better to put the things below. After finishing these, Tang Ping pushed open the door and looked at the eerie blood moon, taking a long breath. The crisis has been temporarily resolved, and we cannot take it lightly in the face of this dangerous world. It is necessary to be prepared in advance, but of course, we should not be too hasty. For example, actively setting up dungeons, hunting and exploring with unfamiliar ghosts, and so on. In storytelling, this situation is bound to encounter danger. We haven't reached the end of our lives yet, and we still have over 20 years to live. It is not advisable to actively engage in risks in order to avoid danger, and it is not too late to do things after one's strength is strong. Of course, if someone actively provokes themselves or makes themselves feel dangerous. Tang Ping's eyes showed a hint of killing intent. Wow! The leaves of the banyan tree swooshed down. Bang! The door closed, and Tang Ping's face turned into a ghostly and magical appearance with black and white patterns. Sunrise and sunset, flowers bloom and fall. 5 years passed hastily. There are no seasons in the underworld, everything remains unchanged as usual, quiet and maddening. Tang Ping's wooden house has been renovated and become much more sturdy, at least not translucent. Inside the gate, there is a black-robed man sitting. Her long hair is loose, her eyebrows and eyes are handsome, and her black and white patterns add a sense of majesty, exuding a somewhat divine aura. Wow! The man opened his eyes. Brush. Eyes emit 3 inches of blue light. The whole person is majestic and imposing, with a majestic aura in all directions. We're almost breaking through. Tang Ping thought to himself. In the past 5 years, I have not been able to break through the realm of evil spirits. Today was a time when the proficiency of the Juyin technique was one step short of a perfect breakthrough, and Tang Ping had no choice but to stop. This breakthrough is likely to be a demonic soul, which will consume a lot of body energy and requires sufficient preparation. The reason why it is so slow is that we still need to take care of other spells. If we allocate extra energy to specifically cultivate and gather Yin, we may have broken through early on. In recent years, no one has traced back to oneself. The conflict between the Blackwood ghost and the centipede was mediated 3 years ago. The new old ghost is in charge of managing the market, so he probably doesn't like this bit of oily water and hasn't searched for it. Tang Ping would not intentionally cause trouble because someone else collects so little cotton. The accounts need to be calculated in the future, but not now. Tang Ping walked out the door. Brother Tang. Hello, Brother Tang. The ghosts around him greeted him one after another. Well, Brother Lin, Aunt Sunday. Tang Ping smiled and nodded. Ghosts die and remain disabled, but on the contrary, they endure to become senior citizens with higher qualifications. In order to ensure cotton production, Tang Ping often taught them how to operate, and coupled with the banyan trees secretly providing nutrition, this place has never been a day of trouble. Tang Ping stepped into the jungle with one step and stayed in a deserted place, his footsteps flying like a cheetah. Wherever they went, plants and trees avoided each other. There is a 3-zhang wide ditch ahead. Run straight over. Crazy vines sprouted from both sides to catch their feet. If he were in the mortal world, he would be the wood god in the forest. The passing years have greatly strengthened his strength. Of course, if you are in your own territory, underground under the banyan tree, multiply your combat power by 10. If you break through the realm of evil spirits again, you will definitely be able to gather more deep bonds. At the same time as he was on his way, Tang Ping summoned the governor. Underground owner. Tang Ping types. Ghosts, Metamorphoses realm. 3rd class underground master, ghost life expectancy. 70 years. Mingqi. Maoho Shuqi. Divine powers. Maoqi Qingmu Dagang technique. Control with technique, 78/1000, De Cheng, Imu covering the moon mantra, 500/500, perfect. Juyin technique, 999/1000, De Shang, ghost fire technique, 1300/1500, De Shang, the lifespan exceeds the upper limit of 49 years for ordinary ghosts. It should be the effect brought by practicing the meditation. Quickly, there was still some distance from the market, and Tang Ping slowed down and put away his supernatural powers. At this point, a noisy noise came from not far away. What a big coward. How dare you come up with ideas on me? Tang Ping took a closer look. I saw 4 rear-eyed ghosts surrounding a plump woman, and there was also a carriage loaded with goods parked nearby. Boss's wife, I've been helping you transport your goods for so many years, and I can't survive any longer. Borrow some money to spend money. The woman smiled instead of getting angry and said, I see that you are pitiful. I worked for you, but as a result, I repaid you with kindness. I will say it again, kneel down and beg for mercy in time. Hee, then don't blame the brothers for being impolite. I was just trying to taste the taste of the boss lady. As soon as the words fell, 4 pitch-black long snakes flew out of Lady Chui's sleeve. The long snake bit the neck and eyes of the person with the back eye, injected venom, and the person with the back eye was frightened. The entire process does not exceed 3 breaths. Cui Nyangzi is also a ghost cultivator. Tang Ping didn't feel surprised at all. A weak woman couldn't have been living in the deceitful underworld for so long. This friend, have you seen enough? Cui Nyangzi said in a loud voice. Good spell. Tang Ping applauded and walked out. He was intentional and possessing the moon covering method would not be discovered. Seeing Tang Ping, Lady Chui's expression was shocked and she immediately understood. I should have guessed long ago. Why did a scholar eat so much food? Did you also guess? I have doubts, Tang Ping said straightforwardly. Without further ado, I want resources for cultivation. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Grass market in mountain streams, orchids crying in the eyes, seeking further reading. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Grass market in mountain streams, orchids crying in the eyes, seeking further reading, take a step to speak. Cui Nyangzi looked around and turned into the small forest, followed closely by Tang Ping. Where did you pick up the cultivation technique? Why don't you even understand the rules? How can an ordinary market sell these things? Cui Nyangzi gave Tang Ping a charming white glance. Due to the fight just now, her already loose clothes became messy, and her snow-white scar was eye-catching. At the beginning of my entry, the shopkeeper is not to blame. I believe the shopkeeper has some connections. Tang Ping appeared very polite. Okay, I'll give you a hand, but you have to pay for it yourself. Do you have money? Is 2,000 won enough? There are still 2 paper figures. There was originally a paper horse that I used a few years ago, but I didn't expect that once I started using it, it would only be valid for 3 months. Tang Ping was so scared that he dared not use the remaining 2. No wonder Long Knife Lu always flaunts this thing on the market, probably because it has been activated and cannot be wasted. A paper man of 500 won, a total of 3,000, is barely enough. Do you know the Mountain Valley market? I don't know. Cui Nyangzi looked around and said, come with me. The 2 of them entered the depths of the forest, heading towards the upstream of the mountain stream. The reason why Tang Ping directly asked Cui Nyangzi for something this time is because he has been in contact with her many years and found that she is not bad. Of course, there is also an important reason. I have become stronger. The ghost fire technique and the wood control technique have been perfected, and the moon covering technique has been perfected. His magical skills far surpass those of ordinary evil spirits. A few years ago, Tang Ping was able to use geographical advantage to kill Long Knife Lu. Now, killing Cui Nyangzi, who is similar to Long Knife Lu, is no problem with killing her easily. Not to mention spells, just using the moon blocking technique to block one's gaze, and then using a ghost-headed knife to strike, this combo cannot be broken without prior understanding. Recently, everything has been on the rise in price. It would be helpful to stock up more. Oh. The Blackwood ghosts are going to war again. Apart from the officials, there is no other food merchant with the sharpest sense of smell. Not only that, there's something wrong in the mortal world. Tangshan is closed, and there will be a commotion next. Cui Nyangzi's taboos are not deep. The Sanjing area was already loose, relying solely on Tangshan to suppress it. Now that Tangshan is closed, there is naturally an undercurrent surging. This ghost also governs the mortal world, Tang Ping said in a cute and new tone. Of course, when it comes to resources, most of the things in the underworld are negative and have a lower level. The things in the underworld have yang energy, and if you want to cultivate them, naturally they have good yang energy. Good things are usually things in the underworld. Most ghosts also have a yang realm. In terms of ghosts and gods, among the common supplies, the offerings of the 4 rituals of heaven and earth are the most beneficial to them. Spring rain, summer rain, autumn taste, and winter rain are the 4 rituals. If it were a duke, there would still be sinking jade. This is the last yellow jade by that Tang Ping saw during the last Dayu ceremony. This item is useful for ghost generals at the level of Tangshan. Tang Ping secretly remembered this item in his heart. There are many resources in the mortal world, but it is difficult for ordinary ghosts to ascend. Only with the help of the Yin Qi on the 15th day of the 7th lunar month can the level of Sha soul be raised. Ghosts do not see the earth, people do not see the wind. Humans cannot live in the soil, and ghosts cannot survive in the wind. This is the law of nature. Wow! At this moment, Lady Cui jumped into the mountain stream. Tang Ping followed closely behind. The mountain stream looks small, but it is surprisingly deep. Under the water, there is no daylight. As it sank further, the water showed a green hue, with occasional large black fish swimming by. Not far away, there were 2 green lights. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a deep-sea python with a twisted body. The entire water area turned into a sparkling green light. Suddenly, gravity changed. Turn from behind to in front of you. Wow! The whole person turned upside down, suddenly stood up and surfaced. The green flowing water proved that it was not an illusion just now, but the water level was only halfway up, and the clothes were not dampened by this strange water flow. Through the light of the mountain stream, it is faintly visible that this is a cave. The water flowed straight, 3 meters wide on the side, with many ghosts and shadows, mostly wearing cloaks. Cui Nyingzi covered her face with a veil, and Tang Ping covered her face with the moon-covering method. Others could only see a pitch-black scene. 2 ghosts walked ashore, and there were people setting up stalls on the shore. Some people or ghosts dug a hole in the wall, and their whole bodies crawled in, only selling things. Ghost shadows can reach up to 10 feet tall, some are as thin as monkeys, some have 2 heads, and some have long tails. Some have heavy yin energy, while others have strong qi and blood. Tang Ping followed Lady Cui in the ghost market. A bottle of human blood costs 31. A living person's heart and liver, 101 per kilogram. Sanrong skull. Silkworm Tsom mask. Paper man and paper horse. Guisho Ji Yin mantra, Huan Ling mantra, Zhao Chao Tu Shen mantra, Kai Tian Shen Wang mantra, Huang Diyu Long ceremony, Wang Qingzi immortal art. There is a dazzling array of things, and the front of the martial arts stall is fine, while the back is getting more and more outrageous, with secret spells appearing every second. I suggest you don't buy martial arts from strangers, Mrs. Cui whispered in her ear. It goes without saying that Tang Ping also knows that God knows if this thing was thought of by someone who spent a lot of time using the restroom. At this moment, Lady Cui stopped in front of a stall. A grey linen cloth was placed with a variety of herbs and minerals, entering a cave that was high and 1.5 meters wide. I saw a person in front of me, with a copper rust candlestick adorned with a faint green candle flame. Behind the table was an old man with a disheveled head. White-haired and fair-faced with eerie tattoos. Mr. Gongsun, I'm here again. Cui Nyingzi greeted. Gongsun. A shawl tattoo. Is it not the royal family in the Wuyu area? Gongsun raised his head, glanced at the two of them, and said calmly, tell me what you want. After speaking, he continued to lower his head and ground the powder with a stone mortar. 3 pieces of jade medicine. The old man Gongsun didn't even look, pulled out a large black jar from the side, grabbed a handful of white powder, and wrapped it in lotus leaves 3 times in a row. 6,000 yuan. 6,000. Tang Ping was surprised to find that only this little thing costs 6,000. The old man Gongsun weighed the money bag and his cold face forced out an ugly smile, saying, I don't bargain, this is the only family. I love to buy or not. I'll have a pair too. Tang Ping felt a pain in his flesh. 5 years of savings. Over the past 5 years, I have hunted and collected medicine countless times, and only saved up after excluding expenses. Quickly, the old man Gongsun wrapped a pair for Tang Ping. Tang Ping roughly smelled it and his soul trembled, giving off a feeling of drinking strong liquor in the winter. Sure enough, he probably understood the reason why Gongsun was so arrogant. There is no way, no matter what world, the one who can create cultivation resources will always be the Lord. Of course, this secret recipe is not something that ordinary people can obtain. There shouldn't be much difficulty in breaking through now. But what should we do in our future cultivation? With this in mind, Tang Ping asked, Senior, do you also sell seeds here? Are there any exotic species suitable for shade cultivation? Ghost spirit grass, completed every 3 years and worth 31 per root. Do you want it or not? Do you have anything more expensive? Mature and faster. There are also ways to achieve quick results, but planting is difficult. Can you do it? The old man Gongsun expressed doubt. Give it a try. Old Gongsun turned around and pulled out a large black jar from the bottom of the table, taking out a pot of orchids from it. The blue orchid exudes a ghostly aura, with a tear in the middle that is vivid, like the tears of a 28-year-old woman. When taken out, a blue tear flows out. The Yulan, which grows in 1 year, requires extremely high yin energy and nutrition. It needs to parasitize trees and has harsh conditions in order to grow into crying eyes. 1 Yulan can be exchanged for 10 pairs of jade medicine. If selling Yulan Lu, crying, a drop of 101, 1 seed costs 101, by the way, don't use wooden spells to revive it. I can see it. This thing has no medicinal power. Here are 5. Tang Ping exchanged a piece of paper for it, but the old man Gong Sun refused, so he had to exchange money with Lady Cui. 2 cards were exchanged for 1,000. Next 500, Tang Ping will use it all to buy ghost rice. Put the supplies into the storage bag, and the 2 of them throw themselves into the water, each returning home. Tang Ping covered his body, jumped into the tree crown, dug open the branches, and placed seeds one by one. Unfortunately, we cannot use the wood control technique, otherwise it will grow overnight. But just thinking about it, if the plants that are spawned by magic also have medicinal power, then the streets would be filled with herbs that have been around for thousands of years. Although controlling wood may not work, this is the main underground home ground, so maintaining the conditions for planting should not be too simple. This planting was successful, and we can challenge more difficult tasks next time. I will use this to make a living in the future. After finishing these, Tang Ping returned to the house. Prepare to cultivate the final level of proficiency. This time, we must break through the evil soul. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Evil Soul, Underground Master's Eye of the Dharma, Seeking Follow-up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Evil Soul, Underground Master's Eye of the Dharma, Seeking Follow-up, Indoor. The light is dim, fortunately I am a ghost, and there is no fear of the dark. Tang Ping carefully took out the so-called jade medicine and opened the lotus leaf bag. There are clearly some white hard particles inside, as well as some yellow, red, and black powders. Sulfur, cinnabar, and mica. Tang Ping roughly discerned some of the ingredients. Of course, this does not mean that it can be replicated. Not understanding proportions, not knowing what things need to be processed through certain techniques, and knowing the materials is useless. However, seeing the composition of mica, Tang Ping remembered the immortal who became immortal by taking mica from ancient books. These drugs made from mica are generally referred to as bait or bait medicine. The ancients said, immortals, those who wear red clothes and feathers, and those who practice fine food, today I will become this immortal. Tang Ping smiled heartily and took the powder orally. Boom. The imagined situation of dry powder getting stuck in the throat did not occur. The powder melts upon entry. A warm current flowed through the soul, and the cold soul felt hot for the first time, like a cooked shrimp. This is not an adjective, Tang Ping is really warm and famous. The green-gray skin turns pale red. Tang Ping quickly calmed his mind and absorbed the yin energy around him. This time, his absorption and visualization speed was several times faster than before. In less than an hour, a complete visualization came to an end. Boom. Juyin Technique, 1000/1000, Deshang. Juyin Technique, 0/1500, Satisfactory, Breakthrough in the Technique of Gathering Yin. Dantian Yin Qi reaches the thickness of the thumb. The soul body further solidifies. If it used to be pure blue and semi-transparent, now it has a slightly cloudy and slightly transparent texture. Although it is still much worse than the average person. This breakthrough completely digested the medicinal power that Tang Fangkai had just taken. Tang Ping finished his work and his soul suddenly rose into the air, then passed through the wall. Finally, he looks like a ghost. Tang Ping let out a sigh. These two divine powers do not appear on the Goddess of War panel, it seems to be their inherent passive powers. The underground master is still third class, but the ghost realm has turned into a demonic soul. The level of the underground master has not been elevated as a result. It seems that the practice of Taoism is still not enough, perhaps it is also related to the progress of the practice of the underworld. Mingqi. Mao Ho Shuqi has not been opened. However, there is a word unopened in the Mingqi column. Tang Ping thought to himself. He once again responded to the local policy. This time, the range of available meditation is quite large, 3 zhang in length and 3 zhang in width. That is, an area of 100 square meters. What's good for cohesion? Yin soil does not necessarily have to be connected together, it usually aggregates valuable places. Just as a mortal dynasty governs a country, it will not even send troops to guard unimportant wasteland and forests. Of course, don't be too far away either, it's difficult to govern one area in the east and the other in the west. As for what to choose water flow, I'm afraid not. The water flow is long, and the total area added up is more than 100 square meters. The forest. Also, the area is not enough. What is it to control a few trees? Moreover, there are banyan trees, and other miscellaneous trees are also uninteresting. After much thought, Tang Ping still felt that the land was better. As an underground owner, how can one do without land just by having a tree? Land alone cannot be cultivated, the underground owner must have a piece of land. With a movement of mind, I tell the earth to float in the air, emitting blue light. In the 17th year of the 35th generation of the kingdom of Jing, the underground lord Tang Ping bought Yin soil from the emperor's Hutu, measuring 3 zhang in length and width. There is an imperial edict under the heavenly talisman, and ghosts cannot compete for recognition. The divine weapon is as urgent as a law. Sanjiang Yin Tu Chi, Tang Ping changed his name to Mao Tu Chi. Matatuki Snake Mantra. Underground Master's Eye, 1/1500. In Tang Ping's eyes, the land has changed. Centered around the banyan tree, within a radius of 3 zhang of land, one can easily sense everything and freely retreat to the ground. The earth in the underworld is a more turbid thing, and ordinary ghosts and monsters cannot escape without magic. The underground main Dharma eye opened. A pitch-black crack appeared in Tang Ping's eyebrows, resembling an eye but unable to see things. His mind and spirit converged here, revealing even more subtle energy in the void. What is pitch-black are yin, filth, ghost, and so on. Blue seems to be woody, while yellow should be earthy. What a divine power! Tang Ping couldn't help but praise. The significance of this divine power is significant. It can sort out the land and earth qi, and during cultivation, there is no need to even sense yin qi. You can directly see some intangible yin qi, greatly increasing the efficiency of cultivation. It looks blurry now, probably due to low proficiency. Even higher, in the future, any illusions from the other party will not be able to deal with oneself, which is why Tang Ping said so well. After acquiring a new piece of land, Tang Ping felt much more secure inside, but what about fighting outside? Then hide underground and into the wood. The soul is becoming more solid, perhaps intentionally exposing a little bit of power. Although the method of blocking moonlight can completely block it, if it continues like this, one day it will be exposed and others may think they have some big secrets. It will be too late to explain by then. Others think you're just a small spell, why hide it so deep? There must be more secrets to uncover. The truth of a lie lies in half. Upon careful consideration, there have been flaws in the past 5 years. Firstly, there have been many purchases of ghost rice, and secondly, the success rate of hunting has also increased. If the old ghost were to monitor himself like Long Knife Lu, he would definitely see something. It's better to actively expose a bit and pretend to be a coincidence to obtain spells. Wait for a suitable moment. Tang Ping has black and white patterns, with eyes and eyebrows, and his body slowly diving into the ground. The Juyin technique can be completed in an hour, and the visualization of the underground main magic eye and the control wood mantra is also greatly accelerated. Afterwards, Tang Ping secretly took care of Yulan while practicing. Proficiency gradually improves, although slowly, steadily. Act low-key on weekdays and do not care about external things. After going to the ghost market with Cui Nyangzi that day, I didn't go again afterwards. Other people's lives are about addition, and with this, they still want that to satisfy their inner unease. Tang Ping, on the other hand, is a subtraction. If it is not necessary, he will naturally not add the icing on the cake. 2 months later. There was a conflict in Rongshu village due to 2 starving ghosts breaking into Tang Ping's wooden house to steal things. The 2 sides argued fiercely, and Tang Ping released a fist-sized fireball on the spot, which frightened the other party into begging for mercy. Half an hour later. Under the banyan tree, green mist permeates. A hunchbacked old ghost holding a red umbrella slowly walked out. Full of appearance, Tang Ping secretly despised him and couldn't use 3 moves to kill the red umbrella old ghost. How did you cultivate it? Where did you come from? A few days ago. Tang Ping stated reasons that were already prepared. The old ghost follower went forward to search for the house, and all the supplies were transferred by Tang Ping to the underground of the banyan tree, so they naturally couldn't find them. At the same time, I went to the place Tang Ping mentioned and found some clues. Be careless and not arrogant. In the future, you will be in charge of this banyan tree forest, and you can directly hand in the harvest. The old ghost patted Tang Ping's shoulder and secretly infused a yin power. Under the cover of the moon-covering mantra, he didn't see anything and believed it in his heart. The invisibility, concealment, and concealment effects brought about by the moon-covering mantra are not on a physical level, but rather in obscuring human cognition. If Tang Ping does not become invisible, but the person who sees him thinks there is no one ahead and automatically ignores him, this is the principle of the moon-covering mantra. Thank you very much, sir. Afterwards, Tang Ping could openly go hunting. During this period, the old ghost was also under surveillance, and after a few days, he didn't notice anything, so it naturally came to an end. With the closure of the Tang god, various forces began to struggle and intensified their efforts. Various materials and supplies in the market increased several times. The well-informed ghost has already smelled something. A storm is about to come, affecting this underworld. Once a year, the Greater Rain Festival in the Heavenly and Underworld, which is larger in scale than the other 3 ceremonies, is about to open. This is the first time Tang Shen did not attend the Yu ceremony. Before that, they had to determine the winner, take all the winners, and have no losers. End of this chapter.